Hey everyone! Today, we're going to tackle a chapter that I know can feel a little tricky for a lot of Class 10 students, coordinate geometry. But what if I told you we could nail this whole thing in just the next few minutes? Let's jump right in. Yeah, I get it. You open the textbook and see all these graphs, these points, these weird letters, and it's easy to feel a bit overwhelmed. It seems like there are a million different types of questions that can come from this one chapter. But here is the secret. And I'm serious about this. The entire chapter, every single problem, every single question you're going to see in your exam is built on just two formulas. That's it, just two. You master these two and you've basically mastered the entire chapter.
So, what's our first secret weapon? It's the distance formula. Its job is super simple. It tells you the exact length of a straight line between any 2 points you can think of on a graph.
Now, when you look at this formula, you might be wondering, where does this thing even come from? And the answer is actually really cool. It's just the Pythagoras theorem wearing a disguise. Seriously, if you draw a right-angled triangle between your 2 points, this formula is literally just finding the length of the hypotenuse. Now, to make sure you don't make those little sign mistakes where so many people lose marks, just follow these steps. It's a foolproof system. Take the y's, subtract them, square it. Then, do the exact same thing for the x's. Add those two results up, and take the square root of the whole thing. That's it.
If you only remember one thing, remember this little phrase. It's the perfect way to recall the formula when you're under pressure in an exam. Just think about the y stuff and the x stuff. Subtract, square, add, root. You're done.
Okay, time to put this formula to work with a classic exam question. So, to prove a triangle is equilateral, what do we need to do? Well, we have to show that all three of its sides are the exact same length. And how do we find length? You got it. The distance formula. We just need to use it 3 times. And as you can see, when you actually do the math, it's pretty straightforward. We find the length of side AB, then we do it for BC, and finally for AC. And look at that. The result for all three is exactly the same. 2 root 2 times A. Since all the sides are equal, we've just proven it's an equilateral triangle. Easy, right?
All right, let's move on to our second secret weapon, the section formula. If the distance formula answers the question, how long, the section formula answers the question, where. It helps us find the exact coordinates of a point that splits a line into a specific ratio.
Okay, I know this one looks a bit intimidating, but trust me, there's a really simple pattern here. It's all about a crisscross pattern. To get the new x-coordinate, you take m from the ratio and multiply it by the second x-coordinate, x2. Then you take n and multiply it by the first x-coordinate, x1. You do the exact same thing for the y's. Then just add them up and divide by m plus n.
And what about the midpoint formula you've probably heard about? Well, here's the cool part. It's not a new formula at all. It's just a super simple special version of the section formula. Think about it. A midpoint cuts a line in a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you just plug in m equals 1 and n equals 1 into the big section formula, it magically simplifies down to the easy midpoint formula.
All right, so now we have our two main tools, the distance formula and the section formula. Now, let's become masters at actually using them, because the real skill isn't just knowing the formulas, it's knowing when to use which one to crack those exam problems.
Here is a type of question that you will see all the time on board exams. Let's break it down. We're looking for a point. Where is this point? It's on the y-axis. And what's so special about it? It's equidistant from points A and B. Equidistant is just a fancy way of saying at an equal distance.
So here is the winning game plan, and it works every time. First, you have to remember that any point on the y-axis must have an x-coordinate of 0. So let's just call our point 0, y. Next, we set up an equation. The distance from our point to A is equal to the distance from our point to B. Then we use the distance formula on both sides, square everything to get rid of those annoying square roots, and all that's left is a simple equation to solve for y. This strategy is golden.
Okay, let's pull everything we've learned together into one ultimate cheat sheet. This is going to be perfect for that last-minute review right before you head into the exam.
And here it is, the entire chapter all on one slide. The distance formula is all about finding lengths and proving things about shapes. The section formula is all about dividing lines and finding ratios. Go ahead, take a screenshot of this. This is your key to unlocking the whole chapter.
All right, now it is your turn to practice. Let's start with some easy 1-mark questions, just to get warmed up. These are all about testing if you've got the basic concepts down. Go ahead and pause right here, give these a shot, and let's build up that confidence.
Feeling good? Awesome. Let's crank up the difficulty just a little bit.
These medium-level questions need a few more steps to solve, and they're very typical of what you'll find on your actual exam paper. They usually involve using a formula and then doing a little bit of algebra. Pause here and really put your skills to the test.
And finally, for those of you aiming for a perfect score, here are some tough ones. These questions will really test your ability to combine the formulas and think through problems that have multiple steps. Now, don't worry if you get stuck on these. The whole point is to practice thinking your way through these more complex situations. Pause one last time and give it your absolute best shot.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It really is as simple as we said right at the beginning. This entire complicated-looking chapter just boils down to two formulas. If you can master the distance formula and the section formula, and you develop that instinct for knowing when to use each one, you have officially conquered coordinate geometry.
Look, think of your exam as just another point on your graph. It's just another challenge. But you already know the formulas you need to conquer the distance and find your way there. You've done the work. So go in there with confidence. You've got this.